So we're going to talk about scaling with funded accounts, and my name is Matt DeLong with Push Button Trading, and we do these webinars every couple of weeks. And what we're going to talk about specifically is using funded accounts, but then like how do you actually scale, get to more and multiple accounts. I actually have multiple PA accounts, so we're going to talk about that and more. But first, trading and this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing in this presentation is presented as financial investment trading or legal advice. Past performance is not indicative of future results. And of course, everything that we're showing you is historical. We cannot predict the future. Any examples, income figures, all that are illustrative. They're not a promise, and we certainly cannot guarantee anything. And you are responsible for your own trading decisions, risk management, and compliance with the rules of any broker you use. Of course, please acknowledge these before continuing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So most people, when it comes to trade to funded accounts, most people, what they do is they pass one account and then they collect a payout and then they stop from there, or they blow up, right? So I'm curious, for those of you who are here today, how many of you guys or gals, how many of you, what funded account programs are you familiar with? So go ahead and put what funded account program you're familiar with. My all-time favorite now is Lucid Trading for trading futures. Go ahead and throw that in the chat. I'm curious what your favorite funded account programs are. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a little hack and some tips and tricks, things that we've learned, because you can actually use funded accounts and scaling them to generate you're able to generate income from these, right? And so the difference between maybe making $100 and maybe making 5,000 is not skill. It's not skill. It's actually scale, right? So it's not skill, it's scale. And we're going to cover exactly like what you can do and how you can get there. So what we're going to talk about is like where most traders get stuck. Okay. Most traders, like I said, pass an evaluation, collect a payout, and then they go on to get aggressive, blow up the account, and then start all over, search for a new strategy, a better bot, a magical solution, right? And so what's interesting is if you think about trading kind of like playing in the NFL, just because you have a losing game or a losing day or even losing week does not mean you have to start all over from scratch. But yet that's exactly what a lot of brand new traders do is like, oh, I took some losses. I need to find another strategy that never ever loses. And as you can imagine, you can get stuck. I've actually talked to people who've been trading for 10 years and they never stuck with any one strategy more than just a few weeks. And to me, I'm surprised they're even stuck around as long as they did, because it's like you have to use something, you have to be consistent over time, right? And you guys probably can relate to that when it comes to like losing weight or learning how to write code. Like it's consistency over time, right? So again, this is where most traders get stuck, okay? And it's never really like an evaluation problem, like like the evaluation account itself. It's kind of lack of a repeatable system, right? You need to be able to do something and then do it over and over and over. That's why a lot of like what you would consider YOLO or you only live once crazy trades, you can't bank those and you can't do those consistently over time. They're one every once in a blue moon kind of a trade, right? And so what I want to do is I want to talk about the specifics here, and one account done right comes first. So imagine like scaling this. Imagine stepping into something like this where you're going to say, I'm going to have one account and then I can go up to two, then three, then four, then five, right? And imagine like one at a time. Most people, they say, I want to make as much as possible. And I'm going to start up here at 20 accounts. I'm going to start with Apex and get 20 accounts. And that usually doesn't work well. Why? Because there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for bots or any kind of like automation to work well, right? You have to be able to have this repeatable system first. It's like trying to go from like in a car going you're going from first gear to fifth gear. There's a lot you got to like gradually get to and work through before you can get there. Now, the reason I'm saying that is most people can handle huge wins. Most people cannot handle the losses that sometimes come with huge wins. For example, most of you can probably handle you're like, oh, I made $600 today. That's great. But maybe you can't handle the $200 loss that comes every once in a while, right? Most of you can probably handle the $6,000 win, but you can't handle the $2,000 loss. Most of you can probably handle a $60,000 win, but not a $20,000 loss. And so my point is, obviously, your account and your skill level need to grow kind of side by side. You don't ever want to get ahead of that, right? And so here's what we recommend. Start 30 days, run it on just like a single account. See how that works. Make sure in what we consider a healthy status, you're consistent. We actually have some live tools we'll show you here in a sec. Our live tracker is what we're referring to. We have some tools we'll show you in a minute that can help you track your progress and help you get accounts funded, okay? Now, we actually have a funded account simulator. How many of you guys have ever seen a funded account simulator? I'm going to demo that for you here in just a couple minutes. But the other thing is, obviously, when it comes to like getting accounts funded, imagine saying, hey, I'm going to use this strategy and I want to launch a new evaluation account every week, right? Every Monday, I'm going to launch a new account and it's either going to blow up or get funded, right? Imagine doing that and you're able to go back and say, hey, how often does this blow up or get funded, right? You want to see that. And so we're going to show you that in our funded account simulator tool here in just a couple minutes. But in this case, anything above 60%, meaning what we call a pass rate. So you got 10 accounts and 6 of the 10 got funded, 4 blew up or they're somewhere in the process. That's what we refer to as a pass rate, right? But keep in mind, one account that's solid is worth more than 5 broken ones or blown up ones, okay? So I want to show you guys the tip and the trick, something we've learned over the years that might be helpful for you and can add value to you right now where you are, okay? This is what we call our funded account hack. So number one, of course, get as many payouts as you can. Easier said than done. But I want you guys to think about, what do you do with a payout? I'm curious if you can put in chat, what would you do with a $6,000 payout? We've actually had people get $6,000, $7,000 payouts in their first month or two with us. What would you do if you got a $6,000, $7,000 payout? What would you do with that? Most people don't do what we recommend. Most people go to Vegas, they just blow it, waste it, and it's kind of sad to watch. However, here's what I want you guys to think about. Take a payout, think of it like seed money, right? Seed money. And then here's what I want you to do with seed money. Create a cash account, okay? Imagine taking something like $6,000, okay? Moving it into a 6K cash account. What do I mean by cash account? I mean like a NinjaTrader, the broker, not the software, but a NinjaTrader or Schwab, I prefer NinjaTrader futures trading account. Okay. Now you're like, Matt, I can't make a full-time living off a $6,000 account. Yes, that's correct. But wait, watch this. What if you took that money, put it in a cash account, and you were never denied a payout again? Why? Well, you can't be denied a payout when you're using your own money, correct? You already got a payout. So the idea here is, this is what most people screw up. They take money, they blow it, they waste it, whatever. But think of it again like a seed. You want to take the seed, roll it into here, get more, you can get more funded accounts too if you want, and then keep this process going so that you're constantly growing your 6K account, so that you start with a couple $100, a couple funded accounts, and then you can easily grow that over time. Does that make sense? So the idea is to scale it that way, not just take the money, go to Vegas, take the money, pay off debt, credit cards, student loans, whatever, right? And so what I'm saying here is that every withdrawal that you bank and you put in your account is a payout that no prop firm can take back, right? Once you got some payouts, prop firm, once it's been paid, they can't take it back from you, right? Is that making sense? So again, the idea is to use seed money to grow it and then compound. Now, for most of you, scaling is not working harder. It's running the same system on more capital, right? And so you can, we actually have quite a few accounts that we prefer. Lucid is my favorite. So any kind of funded account program that uses NinjaTrader that our systems work with. So things like Blue Sky, something like Apex. Yes, I'm not a huge fan of Apex in recent days. Lucid, Top Step. Yeah, great question about Top Step. Top Step is no longer supported. They no longer support NinjaTrader, so it has to work with NinjaTrader. So imagine having multiple prop firms. So not just one or the other, but multiple, right? You're getting multiple accounts on each of these. That's the idea. And then what you can do is you can slowly increase those account sizes from maybe a 50K, which is my favorite size, up to 100. So imagine getting like multiple accounts, multiple sizes, multiple places. And the idea is you want to have different like multiple income streams. Like you want to have different phases, right? Different sizes, different, and that is how things compound. Is this making sense? I don't know if this is making helpful, but we're going to go through this next slide real quick. And essentially this is kind of how this works is obviously once you have a portfolio, you're able to consistently generate income, then you can scale it. Most people want to get to the payouts and the huge bucks right away. And that's where they screw up. Okay. Because this is over time, consistency over time. This is not a get rich quick. Okay. So we actually have some trading automation. I'll show you in a sec. And so the idea is instead of like making trades and manually trading, what you're doing is you're turning on the systems and you do what we refer to as build a portfolio. What is a portfolio? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have 13 unique trading strategies, 13 bots, and we have 550 pre-configured settings. Okay. We'll call it pre-configured settings. Now, what does that mean? Well, you're able to reach into a bucket of 550, grab 8 or 9 or 10 as like a handful, and see how well do these 8 or 9 or 10 work together. And that's what we'll demo for you in just a second. Okay. But basically, if you struggle with consistency or timing, if you're emotional or your brain just melts after a couple of counts, this is a legitimate option, a legitimate way to use this. And what we have is we actually built our own trade copier. We actually have a brand new version that's coming out literally in a week. We've been testing it for about a month, built our own from the ground up trade copier. We have one now. We're actually we built a brand new one from scratch, and it actually runs outside of NinjaTrader. So all the dependencies and latency issues are kind of pretty much reduced to almost nothing. So imagine if you can go from one account, again, one at a time. You're not going from 1 to 20, but one at a time. You're growing it and scaling to 20 or more with multiple companies. So imagine having 20 accounts with Apex and 5 accounts with Lucid and 3 accounts with Blue Sky, right? Imagine having that. That's kind of what I'm recommending and thinking about. Now, how does this work? Well, you configure your bots to run on an account. You can call it like the SIM account. And then it basically can copy to each one of these other accounts automatically. So we'll show you how this works in a second. But essentially what you can do is you can literally go from one account to 20 or more. And you're able to it'll automatically copy the open trades that are out there, the open positions. Okay. Now, there's a lot that happens in this. We offer our trade copier in our full membership. We don't put that in the free trial or anything, but we'll show you guys that in your options here in a second. But here's how this works. You take one account, trade copier detects the signal, and then it can copy it into 2 or 20 or more. And you define, hey, let's say you have a 50K account, a 50K, and a 100K account, 3 different sizes. And you're like, okay, I want to take 1x the trades on this, 1x on this. And then in this one, I actually want to take 2x. So what that means is if this one trades 3 contracts, this one also trades 3. This one will now double that and trade 6. Why? You can configure what we call the multiplier. You can configure that. And they all have their own stop loss. They all have their own profit takers. all that is set up automatically. And that's literally what the benefit of a trade copier. So you basically just configure all your accounts, set it up, turn it on, and the rest happens automatically, including exiting, right? Like automatically exiting. So for funded accounts, you have to be in cash at the end of the day. And so in this case, it can easily like exit and go to cash automatically. Okay. So not everything works with bot trading. Some like Apex is a little. They say that they allow it sometimes. Sometimes they don't. That's why partly why we don't really use Apex as much anymore. I actually have some accounts still, but I'm not actively growing any Apex accounts. Again, Lucid is like one of my favorites now. And the idea here is you can have multiple accounts. You don't have to have everything at one platform or the other, right? In case there's technology issues, in case there's whatever, you don't have to have any, you're not like beholden to just one and only one. And our trade copier can work with multiple connections at the same time, right? So imagine having, like 5 Lucid accounts and 20 over here, and then maybe 5 Bluesky accounts as well, right? You can literally set all that up. It's pretty simple to do. You just configure your accounts, log them in, right? So there's a couple of requirements. Obviously, bot trading has to be allowed. Now, someone asked me, like, how does Apex know if something is a bot or not? And I actually don't know. I don't think they can tell if all they're seeing is orders coming in. So I don't know if they can tell whether something's a bot or not. Someone asked, hey, what if like 100, 200, 300, or 5,000 people all taking the exact same trade at the exact same time? Well, that could be true. However, when you're running a bot portfolio of 550 configurations, I'm curious, how many possible combinations do you think there are of 550 bots? Does anyone know? How many possible configurations? Like you're running 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones at a time, 10 at a time. How many possible combinations are there? And the answer is hundreds of millions of possible combinations. So then if you're running hundreds of millions of possible combinations, even if there's hundreds of people following the exact same portfolio you're running, it's highly unlikely that you're going to stand out or be flagged for bot trading. Okay. Now, I'm not saying break the rules. I'm just saying I don't know that they really know whether you're trading with automation or not. Okay. So again, like most of the companies allow the simultaneous trading. Most companies do that. Okay. So here's what happens is when you run these multiple platforms simultaneously, it does a few things for you. One is it diversifies your risk. You're not like beholden to one firm. It does give you other account options. They're all different pricing, all slightly different rules. And then at the end of the day, you have one signal, literally one signal coming in here, and it's pushing out to multiple. And in this example, we're using 3 funded accounts as an example. There's no limit, of course. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of funded account programs that work with NinjaTrader, and there's new ones popping up every couple months. Okay. Now, what this means is scaling does not have to multiply your risk. So each one of these individual accounts, each one has its own drawdown limits, right? So if you're launching one on week 1, then the next week you're launching 1 and 2, right? So week 1 is just 1. Week 2 is 1 and you're now using account 1, 2. Week 3, you're using account 1, 2, and 3. Week 4, you're using account 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys see how each one of these is going to have different balances over time too, because you're starting them at different times, right? So you're not going all in. It's like you got to have this proof of concept first before you just jump in and try to make tons of money. Everyone wants to skip to the hurry up and pay me part. No one wants to just be patient, you know? And as you guys know, in trading, if you've ever done any manual trading, sometimes market conditions are, it's like the wind is at your back. Sometimes market conditions are favorable for specific strategies. Sometimes they're not, okay? Now, things like the daily loss limits, we actually have the diversification scores we'll show you in a sec. And then you can also set up the live tracker when you have the live bots running, okay? So the things like the consistency rules, things that you may be familiar with, those, of course, don't apply to evaluation accounts. They do apply to the funded Apex calls them PA or performance accounts, right? And why that matters at scale is if one account has a massive single day early, it's going to raise your profit targets to to get a payout, right? So again, all this, we have technology and stuff that manages all this. So let's walk through kind of play by play, step by step real quick, and we'll do quick demo. So number one is to build and validate a portfolio. You're like, Matt, I thought we are talking about bots. What the heck's a portfolio? A portfolio is essentially multiple bots running in a single account. We typically run anywhere from 4 to 10 bots in a single account. Now, why would we do that? Well, as you guys can imagine, every bot and every strategy has an advantage and a disadvantage, right? Things like breakouts, mean reversion, trending, right? Sideways markets, they're all different market conditions. And everyone's looking for one strategy that works in all market conditions. And guess what? Here's the spoiler alert. It doesn't exist. There's no strategy that works in every single market condition, except being in cash, I guess. And the reason is, it's like, if you think about what you're wearing right now, you're probably wearing a short sleeve shirt, right? Can you wear that in Alaska? No, there's no one size fits all, right? You can wear long sleeve shirts, coats. That doesn't work well in the summer. There is no one size fits all. Everyone is looking for one size fits all. It doesn't work. So our approach is to build a portfolio that works in different market conditions. And let's say some bots lose, but some win. And let's say when you win, you make $300. When you lose maybe $100 to $150. You can see over time how things can grow over time with different market conditions changing all the time and the portfolio staying the same. Okay. So anyways, this is the playbook. Start with one account, grow, scale, pull some money out. It's not hard, but you have to be consistent. Okay. So let's take a look at a demo real quick. If you guys want, I want to show you the technology that we've built, and we do offer a free trial I'll talk about here in a second. So let me shift my screen. Here we go. All right, so we should be looking, you guys can see my screen at the push button portfolio. This is a tool that we built that lives outside NinjaTrader. If you're interested in the free trial, we do offer the builder, the analyzer, and the save portfolio and the market pulse. We do offer this on a 14-day free trial. No credit card required. It does run on Windows, pretty simple to install. And so essentially what you can do is people are like, hey, show me your bot's performance. And the hard part is with hundreds of millions of possible combinations for a portfolio, it's really tough to show performance when you have hundreds of millions of combinations, right? Like, how do I do that exactly? So again, we don't have a single bot. We have many, many bots. So here's what I want to show you. On the left here is we're looking at the builder. And on the left, we have a funded account. And we're going to use the end of day trailing. And we're going to have a $50,000 account with a maximum drawdown, let's say, of $2,000. And we want anywhere from 4 to 10 strategies with like $1,000 payout a month, $1,000 profit per month. And we're specifying lucid. We're going to trade minis and micros, and we're going to do every day of the week. And we want all strategies, not just breakout, reversion, scalping, and trend. We want to generate and see what can we find. So again, what it's looking at is you guys can see here, we have 550 strategies loaded in here. Automatically, when you log in, it downloads any updates that our team has built and pushed out. It's pretty simple to download and to install this tool, and then automatically downloads the latest and greatest. So you'll see here, it's looking through thousands of possible combinations, trying to find what are the different mix match of bots collectively together. And it has its own built-in scoring. Okay. So the scoring itself is basically like, hey, we're going to show you the top 10. And you'll see here that meets all of our criteria. Every single one of these meets all of our criteria. Well, what are we looking at here, Matt? Well, on the left side is 10 different portfolios that it built right now on the fly. And you'll see here that the monthly profit is 2,100, average drawdown 1,900. Remember, we specified 2K was our maximum. And it's showing like how this looks over time. See if I can draw. There we go. So this is like looking at this over time. Now, what you'll notice is it's a pretty smooth and increased like equity curve, right? And what you'll notice here is, okay, how did we get this? Well, it's running all these bots right here. These are the bot IDs. These are numbers that kind of refer to this internally, which bot are you running? And it's basically an ID. Again, remember we have 550 total strategies that we're looking at. Okay. Now here's what we're trading: M and Q, MYM, like all of these are assets. And then you'll see some of these are micros, some of these are minis. So some are the smaller contracts, some of them are the bigger ones, right? Micro, obviously when you see an M in front of the ticker MGC or MES or M and Q, that refers to micro, so it's the smaller. So this is a mixed match of small and large risk, essentially. Okay. So then it's showing you the strategy names, like our internal strategy, and then the archetype is, trend following, breakout, right? Mean reversion, all those are different types of strategies that work and kind of describe the market conditions. And you'll show the net profit and the max drawdown, and then the profit factor, your win rates, average monthly, all that. And so you'll see how all this works. Some of these run on certain days of the week. Some of them start at certain times. And the question we always get is, hey, what time frame or what time zone are these times? And we have everything hard coded in our team is in PST, Pacific Standard Time. And well, Matt, what if I'm not in PST? That's okay. You just set everything and tell NinjaTrader you're going to use for your local inside NinjaTrader, you're going to use Pacific time. Everything works and runs magically. It's pretty great. Okay. So I'm able to click on each one of these and see this is an individual bot. You'll see all the ups and downs, a lot more choppy. MNQ, MYM, MGC, which is micro gold. And then I'm like, okay, here across the top here are the specific. You'll see that this one bot, and what we're doing is we're looking at, you'll see here at the bottom, January 2022, right? So we're essentially going back 4.5 years, 4.5 years of data. And you guys could probably agree that that's a pretty good cross section to go back 4.5 years. If you live in the US, we had a totally different administration in Washington a couple years ago than we do now. There's been wars, there's been all kinds of stuff have happened over the 4.5 years, which means that all the ups and downs of different market conditions, we've been able to cycle through. And what you're seeing here is a single bot, right? A single bot going back 4.5 years. You're like, Matt, $8,000 over 4.5 years is not like that's what I spend on grocery. Well, hang on a sec. Remember, that's just one. And here we have quite a bit, not just a single one. So we're going to go back. We're going to, let's go. There we go. So we're going to combine them and say, let's look at the collective. Let's look at the total amount, not just a single bot. So when I click on MGC, this middle one, you'll see it has $11,000 of profit. Well, I want to see what is the collective across all of these together. What does that look like? And what you'll notice is my total trades here was 3,000 trades, 4.4 recovery factor, some nerdy, stats if you want to see it, right? So now I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm digging this, right? So I can kind of, I can save this or I can send it to the analyzer. The analyzer is the next tab here, which is right here. The analyzer basically is like a deep dive on stats and analytics of how well this is performed, right? So what I want to show you, and I haven't seen any other company do anything close to this, but what I want to do is I want to scroll down on the left-hand side, and what you'll see is we have some expectations, right? So like, how many of you guys would like an extra $100,000 every couple of years? Yes, like sign me up. Now keep in mind, this is one account. You can imagine what that would look like times 20 accounts, right? The showing in this exact portfolio, your average win, your average loss, monthly, like per trade, consecutive wins, consecutive losses, like all the things, right? And then you have here what we call guardrails. Now, most people say, oh, well, I don't want to have to tinker with the settings all the time and optimize or re-optimize and change the settings and download all that. Yes, that's correct. We hate doing that too. So what we did was we actually built our system so that we're able to take the specific bots together, and we're able to build a portfolio that works in different market conditions, right? So again, different market conditions. You guys remember in I believe it's 2022, everything was selling, all the tech stocks were selling off, right? Last year everything was just rocketing higher. Today's this year's a little bit choppier, right? So what you'll see is your maximum wins, maximum losses, all the like what can you expect? And it builds these guardrails, right? And these guardrails are like the limits of when do I stop running this portfolio, and when do I reevaluate? Okay. So you're able to go here into the performance, and what you'll see here is each one of these columns represents a month. So you'll see most months are profitable, some more profitable than others, right? But that means you have some losses, and you'll see in this exact example, it was down $606 in a single month. Now, that doesn't mean that it was down lower in the middle of the month and it made back some of the gains and, kind of reduce that loss. But this is how it looks. And you're able to look at every single trade. Remember, there's 3,000 trades in this portfolio. You're looking at the individual strategies here, total trades, win rate, all the stats, all the analytics, certain days of the week. Some run only Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Others are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like all different combined strategies that do different things that work in different market conditions. Okay. Now here's the part I want to show you guys is I'm able to look at like on a monthly basis, here's the numbers, how well it worked, yearly, day of the week. So certain days of the week, right, are a little more profitable than others. But here's what I want to show you, this funded account simulator. And so what I can do is I can take this portfolio, I say $50,000 account, $2,000 of max drawdown, $3,000 profit target, and I want to only have 5 accounts. What would my payouts be? What would that look like in total payouts? You'll see that when you go from 1 account to 5 accounts, the numbers change quite a bit. And you'll see here that all these are capped. Why are they capped? Well, because I said 5, but if I went up to 20, you'll notice that this number gets significantly larger. And then, right. And so what you'll see here is these are all the funded accounts evaluation, the first step. And then you have to obviously get an account run an evaluation to get funded, to get what they call, Apex calls PA account. And what you'll see here is that each one of these shows you how many days active it was, how many months had payouts. Some of these ran for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and we're delivering $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 payouts. Now remember, $40,000, $50,000 in a year is not amazing money, but times 20 automatically is a very, very different situation, very different number, very different scenario. Does that make sense? So that's kind of some of the basics of what we have. The other thing I want to show you is how many of you guys are familiar with the Apex 30-day rule now? So it came out about 2-3 months ago. And so I want to show you, like, you'll see if we go from getting an account, let's go back to, we have a 97% pass rate, 97%. Okay. That's pretty good. When we tell our system, hey, by the way, I need it all done within 30 days or we fail, that 97% becomes a lot less. You guys see that? And this is one of the reasons why we don't like Apex as much anymore. It shows your average days to pass is 21, but some of those that go over 30, they are considered a fail and you have to start all over. You have to pay another fee. And so I want you guys to think about what happens if you're, I don't know, like halfway to your goal and you have 1 day left. Halfway to your goal, you have 1 day left. What do you do? Well, with Apex, if you're in day 29 and you have to get to day 30 or start over, it's going to force you to take what we call a YOLO trade, meaning you only live once, high risk, high reward, make it or break it, right? And that is the very thing that Apex says they do not allow and do not want, but yet their rules kind of force you to do the thing that they don't want. That's one of the reasons we don't like Apex as much anymore. But when you go back in here, you look at the continuous running this model, these are the actual numbers of a $50,000 account. Most of them now have the same goal, the same drawdown limits. Most of them have the same. And in this case, we're withdrawing 50% of our profits so that we can let things snowball. What would happen if I take out 100% of my profits? Well, you'll see the payouts get bigger, but our accounts, kind of stay the same essentially. So, and then the last thing I want to show you is we actually have this AI tool built in. We can actually ask our AI tools, ask it questions. It can make some recommendations. All this is built in. And it can generate this report card. Now, keep in mind when it shows this net profit, this is specifically for one account. Okay. And we've been talking for this webinar, we've been talking about multiple accounts, not just an account, but we've been talking about up to 20. Okay. This is showing our grade, our report card, like how well does this work? And again, we're going over 4.5 years, and it tells you something about the expect between 425 and 3808 in profit. You'll see that certain strategies have low win rates, but they also add drawdown. So all the like ins and outs, the nitty bitty gritty details, you're able to look at that. And then of course we run all these checks automatically. When you run this is, what is the profit factor, the win rate, like all the things that you would need from like an analytics point of view to make decisions on should I run this or not. Now, most people would ask, what is the best one to run? Well, there's no such thing as best. It depends on what your focus is. If you want as much money as possible, regardless of the ups and downs, that's one totally different approach. If you just want to have an account with no blow ups, slow and steady, then that's kind of a very different approach. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Just throw it in the chat pane if you have any questions. Okay. Okay. So the other thing I want you guys to think about is when you move up from like a 50K account to 100K or whatever, we do have this thing once you're trading live is the live tracker can tell you if you're healthy or not. We'll kind of skip through this real quick, but here's what I want to show you. Most traders spend their payouts. Smart traders invest them. What does that mean? It means that seed money idea. Take money out, put it in a cash account, grow it over time, right? Now imagine if the difference between, $100,000 of real money account versus a funded account in payouts, you can never be denied your own cash account, right? There's no payout denial when you're trading your own money, essentially, right? But of course, the funded accounts act like seed capital to kind of help you get started pretty inexpensively upfront. And again, you just repeat that over time, like monthly, right? Again, what you don't need is a strategy. What you need is a system. And so what you do is you basically just accumulate enough money to build your own personal cash, personal brokerage account that you can run on your own by yourself. Does that make sense? So again, let me skip through a couple of these. We're running out of time. Is the way to think about this is you can take 30 to 50%. You can take a payout, leave some, let it compound, or you can take it all out. It's up to you. But the idea here is that you're able to set up a dedicated account, transfer your money into that over time as you get payouts. Keep the money in, keep your funding accounts running, and then the money comes out and goes as like an income engine that goes in to feed your actual like real cash accounts. Hopefully that makes sense. But here's just this little heads up side by side. Funded accounts, you get 80 to 90% of the profit. Your base capital never grows. Most of them have rules on trading. You don't really get to compound it. And then accounts can be closed or rules can be changed without any notice. If you've trading funded accounts for any period of time, you've probably seen it happen. Compare that to this, which is the personal 100% your money. There's no resets, there's no profit sharing. There's no, someone can't just decide that they don't want to pay you and make up a rule that says you can't get funded, right? So typically, like what we've seen with our clients is you start collecting payouts, and the first 6 months you're just accumulating payouts, and then you start taking some of that money and start with a smaller brokerage or smaller cash account start, and then the next year and a half you're accumulating, and then usually after about a year and a half in, you got decent enough that you can now kind of be considering have options to kind of transfer and start working or thinking about kind of maybe trading full time or supplementing your income. Does that make sense? So what a lot of people do is they'll kind of like say, I want to, I've seen it trade one time. I want to go ahead and scale to 20 accounts. Or they're like, let's start with 5. Let's start with 6. Again, I highly recommend you start with 1 or 2. Don't start with 5. Start with 1 or 2. Like there's a process here. Don't skip the process, blow up, get frustrated, and then say the technology doesn't work when you're using it in a totally different manner than we've built it. Okay. So here's just a couple of things here. We're running short on time, but what I want to show you is like what we offer is everything is built in. So the portfolio builder, the portfolio analyzer, and the live tracker. We only offer in the free trial, we offer these two in the free trial. Okay. This is part of the free trial. Okay. Now, if you're like, hey, Matt, I need to have the bots to make a decision. I want to full test everything for months and months. We actually offer something I'll show you in a second. But the live tracker, the trade copier, all the bots, all that is part of our 30-day workshop. So we have a 30-day workshop. It's basically you get access to all of our technology except the community and the live the trade copier, but you get all of the bots. You want to test drive the bots on a single account. That's what this is designed for $199 for 30 days. Now you're like, Matt, I want a free trial and I want everything and I don't have to pay a penny. We would say the problem is that these bots you guys have a lot of questions about how this stuff works, and I can't have my entire team taking tons of questions from people who are trying to milk the free and get as much as they can out of the free system. So the free system is kind of self-serve. Take it, use it, do whatever you want. Again, all the things we've looked at today are part of the free trial. If you want to add the live trading bots, it's just $199 for 30 days. And that just kind of covers a lot of the questions that people ask or set up questions or, hey, help me with this. I can't figure something out. That's basically what we offer. Okay. If you want to upgrade, so the idea is start here, upgrade to this, then upgrade to this. Now this doesn't have live trading bots, so you can't get payouts again in the free trial. Okay. But you are able to do that here in the workshop. And so the idea is we have this sophisticated technology. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building it. We're offering it on a technology lease. You guys are probably familiar with the technology lease or a car lease. You put some money down and you pay monthly, and that kind of typically this would be $15,000 to $20,000 system that we would sell for all the time and all the features. It's pretty cool. It's unique. I haven't seen anything else like it anywhere, not even close. And so instead of charging you $20,000 up front, we're offering it as a technology lease, smaller upfront and then something over time. Does that make sense? Hopefully you guys see that as more than fair, more than valuable for what we're offering. But that's what I have, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and put our links in the chat. If you're interested, you can sign up for the free trial. It's kind of where we recommend for any or all of those. Here is our link for the push button trading. There's the pricing URL. And with that, I'm going to just see if you guys have any questions. Anything I can help you with, let me know. What questions you guys have? Go ahead and throw it into the chat pane. Otherwise, that's a wrap. Questions? Nobody has questions? Wow, I don't think I've ever done a webinar with no questions. Always some kind of questions. All right, I'll hang out for one more sec. Again, if you think of anything, if you're watching the recording here, here's my email, matt@pushbuttontrading.co. That is my email address. But otherwise, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll get the recording here posted.